Hey everybody, Falcon Genie here. And what are we going to talk about today? Simple. I'm going to make a comparison of cartoons back in the early days versus cartoons today. Let's get started. Anyways, anyone, what's the difference between cartoons like back in the late 90s to early 2000s and early 2000s and mid 2000s? What's the difference, everyone? And cartoons today? Simple. What's the difference? Well, in cartoons like back in the mid 90s to early 2000s, they were fun, enjoyable to watch, and there was no indoctrination. There was basically, let's just say, there was no indoctrination trying to indoctrinate you on some certain agendas. And how do I know this, everyone? Simple. And how do I know this? Simple, everyone. Because when we watched cartoons when we were young, which inspired me to become a cartoonist, everybody, and you see my cartoons in my music. You see them, everyone. You see them. You see them, everyone. You see them on the internet, or whether on the internet, rather be on the internet, or just like, well, not just on the internet, but not just on the internet, but not just on the internet, but on television. You know, where basically everything was a-okay, and there was no one trying to censor. Well, there was some bit of censorship, everyone. There was a bit of some censorship, like from early Japanese cartoons from we watched when we were kids to like now today. But anyways, everyone, why am I talking about this? Because back in the early days, it wasn't a problem having to deal with no agendas, no political agendas, no political agendas, no no political agendas, and no political agendas, and no grooming, no giving us like really bad information, unlike how we were taught when we were kids. Everything was all great until the early 2000s, until the mid 2000s came. Then cartoons started to suck now. They weren't enjoyable. They were now becoming toxic. They were becoming toxic, everybody. And why? Because let's just say there was a new type of agenda occurring, a new type of disgusting agenda that would change cartoons and entertainment in America for good. I don't know what, but this whole woke crap, which I don't basically care and I never want to get into politics, but the reason why I'm talking about this is because I'm sick and tired of the politics and I'm sick and tired of the brainwashing. I'm sick of it. Why is that? Because I don't want to have to hear some BS agenda. I don't want to have to hear some BS agenda. And why is that, everyone? Because I don't want to hear some BS agenda. Why is that? Because I don't want to. Because I don't. At the end, I don't want to have to hear some BS agenda. I don't want to have to hear some BS political agenda because I just want to be entertained. I just want to be entertained, everyone. I don't want to hear some BS agenda or some anything like that. Because at the end, everyone, the way it's going right now, the way politics are nowadays, it's becoming toxic. And believe me, I don't like toxicity. I don't like toxicity. I don't like where this country's heading. But at the end, everyone, it feels good even though we had to deal with all the BS nonsense that went on from the early 2000s, from all the BS nonsense from 2016 to 2018, 2016, 2018, 2020, and all that. At least I don't have to deal with that anymore, everyone, and it feels so good. Because at the end, everybody, I shouldn't have to care about some BS nonsense agenda. I shouldn't have to care about it. Why? Because it's invaluable, and I see no point in anything that's trying to influencing you. Anyways, what does this have to do with cartoons? A lot. Because cartoons had a simple message to have fun, camaraderie, and everyone was all united. But nowadays, the way that the system is and the way they're trying to push down, the way that cartoon creators are nowadays, the way that cartoon creators are now, you wouldn't want to become a cartoonist. Me, I wanted to become a cartoonist because I got influenced when I was a kid. And you know what? And I hope to God these so-called saboteurs of creativity, I don't want to call them wokies, but I like to call them saboteurs of creativity, rather be publishers, woke corporations, because at the end, everyone, those are creative saboteurs. And guess what? I don't like those type of people. I don't like those people. Why? Because those people are trying to sabotage my creativity. I don't like those people, and I despise those people with a burning passion. People trying to sabotage your creativity. And it pisses me off that these types of people exist. Anyways, cartoons back then, they weren't as toxic. At least back then, you were getting a good deal. There was no toxicity. There was no toxicity, and there was no... At least there was no toxicity back then. Because nothing trying to influence you, make you adopt a certain belief, certain agenda. Because at the end, everyone, everything was all good. It was all stable. No one's trying to influencing you. No one's trying to influencing you. No one's trying to groom you into something that you shouldn't be. That's why these narcissists in power, and I'm glad people didn't vote for Kamala, and I think things would have gotten really bad if Kamala was elected. That's beside the point, because cartoons back then, the cartoons that I'm making right now, everyone, are vast much different. Because the cartoons I create, everyone, are vast much different than cartoons back then. Because cartoons back then had no agenda. They just want to entertain you and give you a good feeling. But nowadays, it's not the case anymore. It's now all about agendas. But me, I just want to make some really damn good entertaining cartoons that I'm creating right now, my comics, my animations. And you know my cartoons mean something. You know that these so-called degenerates, these so-called disgusting, filthy, these so-called disgusting narcissistic degenerates that want to ruin your experience, ruin your good experience on. They just want to ruin your good experience on cartoons, and they want to destroy creativity, because that's what these these agendas are, everyone. They want to destroy creativity, and I'm not going to let that happen, because I love creativity and I love doing what I'm doing. Just my creativity, not anyone else's. At the end, everyone, it's either create or be consumed. Because everyone, I'm not going to put up with people trying to cancel me or trying to sabotage me or trying to make my life difficult, because those people, I will destroy them. I will wipe them out. I will not tolerate any form of sabotage. I will not tolerate any form of sabotage. Anyone trying to sabotage me of my career, my opportunities, I will not tolerate that. And you will be smitten out. You will be smitten. Anyone trying to sabotage me, they will be smitten out. Because I have no tolerance for deviancy and degeneration. And I know it's going to piss off these narcissists. Good, I hope they do get pissed off, because I'm not going to quit. And you're not going to make me quit. In fact, I will destroy you. I will annihilate you. I will make you disappear. You will be long forgotten. Nobody will miss you. Everyone will forget about you. No one will love you. All because you just want a quick, all because you just want, all because you just want, all because you couldn't control your ego. Well, guess what? Because you couldn't control your ego, suffer the consequences. All because these so-called people on a certain agenda couldn't control their ego. Well, guess what? Your nightmare is about to come true. For those people who refuse to control their own ego, let's just say it's going to be bad for you. It's going to be bad for you, for those people who don't wish to control their own ego, or who just want to, who think they're going to go unaccounted for, thinking everything's going to be, everything is going to, I don't know, be okay. Thinking that you're not going to get held accountable. Well, how wrong are you? How damn wrong are you going to be? How dead wrong are you going to be when accountability comes and no one's going to help you or find you? Because at the end, everyone, no one's going to come and save you. Nobody is going to come and save you, everyone. Nobody's going to come and save you. Because only people who have victimhood mentality, because at the end, everyone, victims don't exist. Victims don't exist, everyone. Victims do not exist. Anyone who has this victimhood mentality, thinking they're a victim, you are not welcomed in my corner. Anyone who has a victimhood mentality, you are not welcomed here. I do not like victims. Anyone who has a victimhood mentality, thinking you're not going to be held accountable, you are not welcomed in my circle. Anyone who displays any form of victimhood and entitlement, you are not welcomed here. No one owes you anything, everyone. You have to understand, you can't just no one's going to hand you anything. You're not handed anything. No one's going to hand you anything, because nobody cares, everyone. No one cares. Nobody does care. Because at the end, everybody, you got to earn this yourself. No one's going to help you but you. No one's going to help you but yourself. Because at the end, everyone, cartoons back then never had this so-called entitlement narcissistic agenda. Because I love the cartoons that I make, and cartoons nowadays just openly promote this so-called narcissistic degenerate agenda. Which I say hell no to that. Because a lot of these so-called corporations that do this woke agenda, let's just say they're not going to make it out. Their business is going to go under, and they're not going to last long. They're not going to last long, everyone. They're not going to last long. Because at the end, these degenerates, they're not going to last long, everyone. They're not going to last long, everyone. They're not going to last long, everyone. These so-called degenerate people, these so-called degenerates, they're not going to last long. And how do I know this? Because evil never wins. Good versus evil, everyone. Good versus evil. Don't let these evil people, these so-called narcissistic degenerates, influence you in a way you don't want to be influenced. Because cartoons back then, everyone had a good message. Good always wins and evil loses. And right now, what these so-called disgusting wokies are displaying, they lost, and they lost big time. They will be defeated. But that doesn't mean they'll come back, because they will come back. They always come back, and we'll be ready for them. We'll be ready to fight them and beat the shit out of them. And guess what? We're not going to let you groom us into stuff we don't want to be groomed into. Because groomers never succeed, everyone. Groomers never succeed, because the left are nothing but groomers. They're groomers. They're all groomers. Like I said, they're all groomers, they're all degenerates, and they will never succeed. In fact, they will be in trouble. They will spend the rest of their lives in prison. And because you know what you get what you get a society, you know what happens when you get a society that doesn't punish criminals, that does not enforce justice, you know what you get? You get what you fucking deserve. That's what happens to a society that does not prioritize justice and the safety of its own citizens. You know what you get? You get what you fucking deserve. Anyways, everyone, that's all I have to say. I love this Danielle White character. I love her so much. I love what I draw. Anyways, everyone, my cartoon characters are solid, and we're going to make sure the woke is destroyed. Anyways, everyone, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and as always, fight this degenerate agenda.